So like I said, I just want to go over this stream and maybe see if there's any sort of feedback that I could give. So first of all, looking at the stream, just, you know, as we see it now, I think that the background behind him looks a little bit busy. I think it looks a little bit busy and a little bit cluttered. I think that in some ways it may be taking away from the streamer who is the product. You know, we're looking at Hasanabi, and he is essentially selling himself. He is the product of the stream. Let's see if we can pull up his statistics. And right off the bat, you can already see some declining. So this is, you know, a bit concerning. It looks like he has a 21% decrease in hours streamed. So that is very concerning for this week. This is just this week's stats. Let's look at for the month so it could give us a better idea. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, he has a 19% decrease in hours streamed. But the good news is this actually didn't affect the average viewers. See, we actually saw a 3% increase in average viewers, which is another really important lesson whenever it comes to Gold Diggers University. And this is something that I'll be teaching, you know, my girls whenever we get classes started. Like I said, we're still hiring for the university overall. I plan on getting some classes started and moving forward with that within the coming weeks. But this kind of goes into the dynamic where you don't want to give them too much. You don't want to give them too much. You want them wanting more. So if you give them too much, they expect you all the time. But if you take yourself away just a little bit, they'll be begging for more. I'm a man. I'm sorry, the courses are not for you. I don't feel safe now, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't. This is a woman and LGBTQ safe space, not a man safe space. And like I said, we won't be taking applications from men. And it looks like he had a peak of 82,000 viewers. Games streamed, 3 games. He only has 3 games streamed. We'll have to take a look and see what types of games are being streamed. And then it looks like he is gaining 500 followers an hour. Okay, so let's go down here a little bit and look a bit more into the statistics. So he's actually live right now, as we saw, and he has 33,000 viewers watching. This is over time. Active days per week, total games played. Okay, so this is overall. I think that being a professional in the business, I do think that there are several key things that Hasanabi is, you know, kind of missing out on. And because of that, he's missing out on revenue that could be incoming.
You can play Armchair General all day. You can play fucking Armchair General from Iowa, wherever the fuck you're standing. You watch all the fucking war porn and all the combat footage and jerk off to it and go, oh man, it's so sick, it's so sick, it's so great, it's so funny, oh yeah.
So first of all, just like from what I've seen so far, I would say that Hasanabi comes off as extremely unprofessional. He's chewing gum on stream. That's a huge no.
The people that will end up getting fucking wiped out potentially are Ukrainian people.
I feel like that's something that he should probably know by now. Having, you know, 34,000 viewers.
That usage is justifiable in any meaningful capacity. It is not justifiable to invade a country.
Very unprofessional and unacceptable.
Russia's actions have never been justifiable.
I'm
they
sorry.
have been unjustifiable.
Whenever you're talking, people don't want to see you chewing gum. I always tell my girls at Gold Diggers University, no gum. No gum. No gum chewing.
I live 200 miles away. We fuck them or they fuck us. I live in Poland.
Inappropriate language.
And this is why we want this, so we freeze another war. Don't fuck with us, mate. Slava Ukraini. We take Russia to the cleaners now. Shut the fuck up. Nothing gonna happen.
See, it's just really hard for me to understand what's going on in Hasanabi's stream right now. As, you know, a newer viewer and somebody who hasn't seen this type of content before, I don't understand why he's yelling and cussing out his clients and potential donators to his business. I always advise my girls at Gold Diggers University, you don't want to be combative. I sense a lot of combative nature going on in this stream, coming from the streamer. You can assume that your viewers are going to be combative because that's just in their nature. But as a professional streamer, you should never play into the combativeness.
I hate it so fucking much.
Yeah.
But the Ukrainian government cannot be reached for comment. We talked about it. Look, originally Seymour Butts.
See, there's
Also
just like a lot of like, what is going on here? There's nothing really hooking me in. Politics so unprofessional.
Okay.
I think that politics are important, but I feel the way that this streamer is talking about news and politics is very unprofessional. He comes off very combative and angry, and to me that's just unacceptable and is going to draw people away from the business. Sorry, I'm muting for a second. So just taking like a closer look too, and sorry, I don't want to make my Zoom lag. I just wanted to take a closer look at some of this is another issue I have, is some of the graphic elements. The graphic elements at the bottom look very unprofessional. They look very unprofessional with his name, the Hasanabi, the YouTube and the Twitter. It just looks like a very unprofessional font. I think at that point he might as well have just used Comic Sans. And it just looks a bit busy and all over the place. It's not, he needs a graphic designer. I'm not a professional in graphics, but we are hiring at Gold Diggers University. We are hiring, and we are looking for people to work on different graphical elements and things like that. And like I said, I'm not a graphics professional, but even with my knowledge of graphics and graphic assets as far as streaming, I think that there's just some key no's going on as far as the spacing and, just the way things should align. For example, the way that his camera is peeking over the chat, like one of the first things that I would do is I would crop the camera so that it would line up evenly underneath the chat and just create like a strong line right down the middle of his stream. Do you see how it just looks tacky with it hanging over? Do you guys see what I'm saying? And this is a missed opportunity for Hasanabi. He obviously has the incoming revenue to be able to afford a graphic artist to be able to help him with his stream overlay and layout. But right now it just looks like a mess. Like it's hurting my eyes to look at. It's just so busy. You've got, 20 tabs open at the top. You've got this window open on top of this other video that he's watching, the chat's spamming like crazy. And I feel like most people would click on this stream and immediately click out because they don't know what is going on. It's hard to follow unless you're really paying attention, as well as the streamer consistently being combative, unprofessional. See, there he goes again. Cussing out potential. He was cussing out potential clients.
Yeah, of course.
He was cussing out potential donators to his business.
This is one of my first chatters. Wait, really?
And he's chewing gum. Looking at the profile. What is unique about this? This looks very bland. It looks very plain. It looks like every other profile on Twitch. I feel like the coloring doesn't match. If you look up here, this graphic element of his stream where it says, Hasan, Abby, this down here at the bottom, these texts should be the same. There's not a lot of continuity. So, let's see the YouTube. Okay, this is atrocious. This is his YouTube profile landing page. And it's just a bunch of tweets. Nobody's reading through all of that. It's so tiny you can hardly like read the text. I just don't understand the point of this. It looks like it was just thrown together in Microsoft Paint, as well as see this. So the icon, your icon is really important. This is something that's going to make people say, okay, I know who that is. And he has multiple icons on multiple different platforms, making him unidentifiable on other platforms. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? You want to have the same icon. You know, that's your logo. That's you. And what I'm seeing looking over this is just not a lot of strong graphic elements. There's just a lot missing here. His branding is terrible and all over the place. He needs a cohesive brand. He needs a cohesive brand. See, like, this is his icon on this page. This is his icon on this page. And then I'm sure, okay, if we look, okay, I'm not sure if he has a landing page for, let's look at the Twitter. Okay, and again, there's no cohesiveness. You want to see the same branding, different branding once again. What other? Twitter, Instagram. Okay, so he does have the same branding on his Instagram and Twitter. So that's at least good. But he needs to fix his branding and make it more cohesive across all platforms. I think that this is a huge miss for Hasanabi. Okay, and this is actually offering some really good statistics right here. Current viewer locations. So one of the other things that I would advise Hasanabi to do is to take a look at his viewer statistics and get an idea for when he's going to get the most viewers. And he needs to also have a good idea as to whether or not these are direct or indirect views. And this is really important. So indirect views, these are people who just stumble upon his stream. And with the indirect views, you're trying to win over a viewer. With direct views, one can assume that they are going directly to your stream. So you've already won that viewer over. I would honestly love to see some of Hasanabi's statistics in his Twitch dashboard. I would be able to deduce a little bit more as far as a good action plan for him to move forward and gain more with his stream. Like I said, I feel like he is missing out on a lot of revenue here. For several reasons. I think he's missing out on a lot of revenue as far as the branding goes, or lack of branding. You know, like I said, there's no cohesiveness with a lot of the graphic assets and elements of the stream. And, you know, you're kind of looking for that. You're looking for something iconic, something that just really brings people in. That's what you're doing whenever you're streaming. You're trying to sell yourself, essentially. Like I said, he's very combative.
Tanks or troops crossing
and this is just boring. This is just boring. This, I think, could have been skipped. This video could have been skipped. Address why your Twitter profile isn't the same as your Twitch profile. And there's reason for that. There is reason for that. And we'll get into that later. Moving forward, one of the other things that I would advise is Hasan not to leave his stream. Never leave your stream an empty chair, even for a moment.
Tipped $5.
You need to be working at all times.
Who could have done something like this? I mean, who? I don't know. That's crazy. What the fuck?
See,
wow.
and
I mean,
again,
what?
he said, who could have done something like this? Who?
No.
Who are we talking about?
No. It must have been Russia, dude.
Who are we
Come
talking
on,
about?
Come on.
You know, it's
And
he
now
needs to be a little bit more clear.
One of the things that,
especially if you're reporting
one of the
news.
things that people will do.
You know, a lot of
okay,
things can
whenever
be
we talk about, like,
misconstrued in
Smorgasbord
news,
or
and I
Noam
feel like
Chomsky
he
or
needs to be a
anyone
little bit more
that
clear with the
does not
language that
fall in
he's
line with
using
State Department
and who
propaganda
he's
where it
talking
matters
about,
the
because he's
most.
leaving a lot
They
of
will
people
take
confused.
bad takes that they have, or takes that are like not agreeable.
Who is they?
And they will
Be
propaganda.
clear
They're
with
doing it already.
language used. Exactly.
They do it with, immediately. They're like, oh, Hasan is a Russia defender. He loves Russia. He loves sucking Vladimir Putin's cock, dude. He is vilified.
He should avoid
about
talking about sucking
isn't
cock.
the narrative that you hate America? Yeah, that, but like not in a way where it is valid, because there are valid reasons to hate America, but in a way that is somehow a third thing, like an invalid way to hate America. They literally will never actually.
That's also very combative. He is singling out his clients once again, singling out Americans. If you look, his top viewer location is Americans. And here he is saying that Americans deserve to be hated. He's singling out his viewers. That would be like me saying the LGBTQ deserve to be hated. Not only would it be an ignorant thing to say in general, but it would also be an ignorant business decision.
If you are not towing the State Department propaganda lines, because we're talking about Seymour Hersh. I'm making it more relatable.
So that's who
These
he's talking about.
Don't know who Seymour Hersh is.
And he acknowledges that people don't know who he is. So here he was talking about this person who none of us knew who he was talking about for several minutes. And then he finally says who they are. And he reiterates that nobody knows who he is. So just make that make sense. You know, like I said, I feel like he's coming off very combative. He's coming off very unprofessional. I feel that his graphic assets are not cohesive. There's a lot of opportunity there. He keeps on singling out his audience, whether they be American or a Twitch viewer. So, like I said, these are just some of the opportunities that I see.